Hello everyone, welcome back to another online session of your English class. Today we are going to cover our next poem from Beehive book, that is A Legend of the Northland. This poem is written by Phoebe Cary. She was an American poet and younger sister of Alice Cary. She was born on September 4, 1824 in USA. These both sisters got interested in writing poetry at the very early age. Phoebe herself has written her first poem at the age of 17, and one of her earliest poems is Nearer Home. Both the sisters co-published their work in 1849. Later, Phoebe produced and published her individual collections, and these two collections are individually published under her name, that is Poem of Paradise and Poem of Faith, Hope and Love. She died on July 31, 1871. So this was about our poet. Now let us learn something about the poem. A Legend of the Northland is a ballad. Class 9th, I know this is a new term for you, so let me explain what is a ballad. A ballad is a poem that narrates a story, and these poems are always in the form of short stanzas. This kind of poetry can have many short stanzas, right? They can be a long poems with many short stanzas. And in this particular poem, which we are going to cover, A Legend of the Northland, there are 16 stanzas, and each stanza comprises 4 lines, right? And these stanzas will tell us a story. Another characteristics of ballads are that they are a part of folk culture or popular culture, right? Folk culture means a story that belong to a particular region or area, right? And they passed orally from one generation to the next generation. So ballad is a poem which contains short stanzas, and those short stanzas will comprise 4 to 5 lines, and the poem which we are going to cover, A Legend of the Northland, is a ballad as it has 16 stanzas and each stanza carries 4 lines. Plus, another characteristic of ballad is that they are the part of folk culture, so means this poem is going to tell us a folk story, right? Let us learn something about the title as well. A Legend of the Northland. A legend. What is the meaning of this word legend? Legend means a historical story. Again, which is very old and has passed on from generation to generation. And Northland, this story is of Northland area. Here the exact place is not specified. Northland refers to a country or a group of countries which are situated around or facing the North Pole, right? So exact place is not mentioned in the poem. It could be any extremely cold region in the northern polar region like Greenland, Russia, right? So Northland means the area which is in the northernmost part of the earth or which is near the pole. Let's start reading the poem now. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. Here, the poet is repeating the word away, away. Away, away is, both the words are repeated, means here the poet is using the device repetition. And repetition is a device that is used to lay emphasis, to lay stress on something. Here the poet is repeating these words to lay stress on the fact that the place is Northland. It is far away in the Northland, means it is very near to the North Pole. And as we know that the North Pole is the coldest region, so here the poet is referring the extremely cold weather where the hours of the, and winter season we know the duration of the days shorter and the duration of the nights are longer, right? So in winter the poet is telling the hours of the day, the days are shorter and the nights are so long that they cannot sleep them through. They here means the people of the Northland. They cannot sleep throughout the night. They are so long that whenever they are waking up after completing their sleep, they are still getting that it is dark outside. where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows. They harness, they again the people of Northland. Harness means tie. Swift means fast, right? Reindeer, we know the animal which is found in the coldest region, and they are very fast. They can easily and move fast, very faster in the snow, right? So where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges. Sledges means cart. So the people in the winter season, they tie the faster reindeers to the carts when it's snow, when it's starting falling snow there, right? Because sledges are a kind of cart and reindeer are a kind of animal which can easily move on the snow, right? And the children look like bears cub in their funny furry clothes. And as it is winter season, so parents covered their children with funny furry clothes. So in those funny furry clothes, they look like bear's cub. Now let us see the rhyming scheme. Northland, few, winter, through. Few and through are rhyming with each other. It means second and fourth line of the stanza is rhyming with each other. So rhyming scheme will be A, B, C, B, right? And this is the same rhyming scheme which all the stanzas of the poems are following, right? Let us see another literary devices. Away, away is the repetition, right? To lay emphasis that the place which is mentioned in the poem is far away in the Northland. The, that, the, they, the, them, the, through, the sound has been repeated here. I hope you are able to recognize now which device is this, as already we have learnt about in our previous poems. This is alliteration. The, again it has been repeated. Sledges and snow, sound is repeated in this line. Look like, sound is repeated here. Funny, furry, fur sound is repeated here. So alliteration is used. Alliteration is a device which is mostly used in almost all the stanzas, right? So one more literary device is here. Children look like bear's cub. This is simile. Simile is used for the comparison by using the word like and as in it. So children look like bear's cub. Children are compared with the bear cubs by using the word like. So here the use of simile is there. One more literary device is there, and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. Here the use of enjambment is there. Enjambment is a device that is used when one sentence carry the same thought to the next sentence, right? And there is no punctuation marks here at the end. So it is enjambment. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it is true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. They here mention the elderly people of Northland, and them mention the younger generation, as children are more interested in listening stories. So here the poet is telling that the elderly people of Northland told an interesting story to the young children. I don't believe it is true. Here the poet is telling she doesn't believe that the story is true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. But still she wants to tell this story to us, because we are going to learn a moral lesson, as it is going to give us a moral lesson. So here the poet wishes us to learn a moral lesson after listening this story. So here's our story begins. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below. Saint Peter means apostle of Christ, right? Follower of Jesus Christ, right? So once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below means when he was traveling around the world and walked about it preaching. Preaching means to convey the religious religious message, right? Just as he did, जैसा कि followers जो हैं किसी भी religion के जो followers हैं, their function is to move around, travel around the world and preach about convey the religious message. The same Saint Peter was doing. And then what had happened? He came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. He came to the door of a cottage. When he was traveling around the world, he reached the door of a cottage, and where a little woman was making cakes, and she was baking them. After making them, she was baking those cakes on the hearth. Hearth is the fireplace, right, which she was using to bake the cake. And being faint with fasting, faint means tired, and as he was roaming the world, he was hungry. He hadn't eaten anything since morning, so now he was getting tired. He became tired with fasting, for the day was almost done, because it was almost the whole day which has passed. And by the evening he reached this uh, cottage where he saw this little woman was making cakes. So he asked her from a store of cakes to give him a single one. So Saint Peter asked her to give a small cake to him so that he can feed himself. Before we move further, let us see the literary devices and rhyming scheme of these stanzas. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it is true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. So true and you are rhyming with each other. As I have told you, each stanza is having same rhyming scheme. A, B, C, B. Peter, below, preaching, no. Below and no are rhyming. So A, B, C, B. The another rhyming scheme, another literary devices are they, them. Again, the consonant sounds are repeated. No need to tell you which literary device is this. This is alliteration. Yet, you, yet and you, your sound is repeated, and learn and lesson, le sound is repeated. Tell, tale, to, again, t sound is repeated. One more literary device is here, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. This is known as this line is carrying the same idea to the next line and there is no punctuation mark at the end, means the one line is carrying the same idea to the another line. Such kind of device is known as enjambment. I will teach these literary devices during the live session also. So if you are getting it, you can note it down. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below. So again here the use of enjambment is there. Next we are having he came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. Earth and hearth, they are rhyming. Again this is A, B, C, B, and the sound in the third line and the sound in the fourth line. So again the use of alliteration. Alliteration is one of the device which is mainly used in each and every stanza. Again, first sound is repeated and the sound is repeated. So alliteration is there in this stanza also. Now we will see the next. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seems too large to give away. So she was, when he asked her to give a piece of cake so that he can feed himself, so the lady, what she has done, she just started baking a new cake and that was a very small in size, right? So she made a very little cake but as it baking lay. But जैसे ही वो बना केक, तो क्योंकि they pluff down when they cakes are baked, so it looked, when she looked at it, thought it seems too large to give away. She found that the cake was looking very big. She cannot give away such big cake to someone. Therefore, she needed another. Kneaded means making dough by using the dry flour, right? So this is a process of making dough. So therefore, she needed another and still a smaller one, but it looked when she turned it over as large as the first one had done. So she made a very little cake and as it baking lay, तो उसने देखा कि ये तो बहुत बड़ा लग रहा था देने के लिए. She was not ready to give such a big piece of cake to someone, so she needed another and still a smaller one. और उससे भी उसने छोटा साइज जो है ट्राई किया, but it looked when she turned it over as large as the first one had done. But when it was ready, when the cake was ready, again she found it as large as the first one. Again she found that the cake was too large to give it away. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough. फिर उसने बहुत ही small, tiny means a very small piece of dough उसने लिया and rolled it flat. And then she rolled it. उसने उसको बिल्कुल flat किया to make it thin as a wafer. And then she baked it. And she couldn't part with that. और उसको भी परवो नहीं दे पाई. For she said, my cakes that seems too small when I eat of them myself are yet too large to give away. So she put them on the shelf. She made a very thin cake like a wafer, but she couldn't even give that to the when the cake was ready, which she has rolled to make it flat and thin as a wafer. But when even this cake was getting ready, she was not ready to give it away to the saint. So for she said, and when the cake was ready, she said that her cakes seems too small when she eats them, but when she is preparing it to give away to someone, they are looking very large. So she put them on the shelf, and then she didn't give it to the saint. In spite of giving, she kept them on the shelf. उसने उनको shelf पर रख दिया. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint, and surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. And then Saint Peter grew angry, उनको गुस्सा आ गया, for he was hungry and faint, because he was very hungry, as throughout the day he was roaming around the world, and faint, and he was feeling very weak and tired. And surely such a woman, or surely ऐसी woman who was baking the cakes again and again for him but was not ready to give him, was enough to provoke a saint. वो बिल्कुल enough था उसका behavior to provoke a saint, to make him angry. And he said, you are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm. Now he got angry and he said, you are very selfish. You do not deserve to be a human being, right? You do not deserve to have food, shelter and fire. Means you do not deserve to live a life of a human being with all the comforts like having food, shelter and fire to keep you warm. अब हम इसके literary devices देखते हैं. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seems too large to give away. Lay and away again are rhyming with each other. A, B, C, B. Again, one and done are rhyming. So it is A, B, C, B, right? So still and smaller. Again, the use of alliteration is there. And one more device is there, that is enjambment. As there is no punctuation mark at the end of this line, she looked at it and thought it seems too large to give away. As this line is carrying the same thought to the another line, this is ending, the thought is ending here, and this line is carrying to the next line. So this is enjambment. Next we are having, then she took a tiny scrap. T sound has been repeated in this line. Took and tiny. Rolled and rolled, repetition is here. Thin as a wafer, as I have told you, when we have to compare two things, here the cake has been compared with the thinness of the cake has been compared with the wafer. So it use of as and like for the comparison, such kind of devices simile. So the use of simile is here. Seem, small, the sound sir is repeated. Shelf, she, the sound sh is repeated. Again rhyming scheme is same. Flat, that, myself, shelf, right? Next we are having angry, faint, women, saint. Faint and saint are rhyming, same rhyming scheme. Form and warm are rhyming, so same rhyming scheme. Her sound has been repeated in second line, and sir sound is repeated in third line of this stanza, so it is alliteration, right? Again enjambment is there, and surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint, as these both lines are conveying the one thought. So and here no punctuation mark, so it is enjambment, right? And here again the use of enjambment is there. You are far too selfish to develop in a human form. So again there is no punctuation mark, and this line is carrying the idea to the another line. So the use of enjambment is there. Now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. So now he cursed the, because he was the sand, so he cursed the lady that now onwards you do not deserve to be a human being and enjoy all the comforts. So now, like the birds, so you shall also live a life like a bird. You also build your own house, and you will have to do hard work to get scanty. Scanty means a very little amount of food. To get very little amount of food, you have to do hard work like the birds by boring. And that scanty food, how you will get that? By boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood, right? So by digging, boring होता है, by digging in and doing very hard work, and by digging the whole day the dry wood, you will get your food. Then up she went through the chimney, and the same moment the women went up through the chimney like a bird. Means the women, the curse जो है it fulfilled, and the women turned into a bird. Never speaking a word, she couldn't speak a word, and she just turned into a bird. And out of the top flew a woodpecker, and उस चिमनी के से ऊपर जो बाहर है, there came a woodpecker. Now the woman has turned into a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird, because now she was turned into a bird. The curse shows its power, and the woman has been turned into a bird, right? And which kind of bird? That was woodpecker. And woodpecker को कैसे खाना मिलता है? By digging and digging the wood, ठीक है, with its beak. So अभी हम literary devices देख लेते हैं. Build and bird sound is repeated. Boring and boring and boring, the words has been repeated to emphasize, to lay emphasis on the hard work which the bird has to do to get the scanty little amount of food, right? Then through the, again the sound is repeated. No need to tell which device is this. This is alliteration, right? She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burned black as a coal in the flame. So when the woman turned into the bird, she was wearing a red cap on her head, and that was left the same. That's why the woodpecker is having red color at its head, right? Because the woman was wearing a red cap when it turned into the woodpecker, according to the story. But all the rest of her clothes were burned black as a coal in the flame. But as she came up from the chimney, so the poet is telling that according to the folktale, that rest of her clothes were burnt in the flame of that chimney, and they turned black as a coal. So that's why the body color of the woodpecker is black and the head is red. And every country schoolboy has seen her in the wood. And the poet here is telling that every country schoolboy means the school-going children who are living near the countryside, who are living near the village area, they can see this bird where she lives in the trees till this very day. They could see the bird, this bird living on the trees in the forest till the date, boring and boring for food, and they could see that the bird is digging hard dry wood to get a little amount of food. So this was the story. According to the folk tale, this woman was cursed by Saint Peter because of her selfish and greedy nature, and then Saint Peter cursed her, and due to the effect of the curse, this woman turned into a woodpecker, right? So what the folktale wanted to convey to us, that what is the best quality of human being? To feel the pain of the other and be having the desire to share. But as the woman was neither emphatic nor generous, she was selfish, and she did not have the desire to share anything with anyone. So Saint Peter thought that she did not deserve the ability to live as a human being, to live a comfort life, as she was not ready to help the people who are in need. So that's why he cursed her. And the story teaches the lesson to us that we should not be selfish and greedy, but to have a kind heart and help others in time of need. So I hope you understand. Now let us see the literary devices of these last two stanzas as well. Her sound has been repeated in the first line. The is repeated in the second line. So this is again alliteration, right? Rhyming scheme is same, flame, AB, CB, wood, food, again AB, CB. Black as a coal, as I have told you, the use of simile is there. When something is compared, the clothes are compared with the coal. The color of the clothes after burning, black color, is compared with the color of coal by using the word as. So this is simile. Boring and boring, again the word is repeated here. It is repetition. It is used here to emphasize, to stress the fact that the woodpecker is getting the food by digging hard into the dry hard wood. So this was our poem. I hope you all understand. I will see you in my next lesson, everyone. Till then, bye.